So I've had this for almost 2 months now. It's a fantastic instrument. It's a Kurdish Tanbur. It's a very, very old instrument, probably 600 years BC. Who knows? It's an extremely old instrument, and I just recently discovered it. I was talking to a gentleman about instruments in California. He was looking perhaps to have one built, and he didn't have one built. He was looking for something kind of radically, well, not radically, but something different, but kind of like a dulcimer. And I in my conversations with him, I had mentioned an instrument that I'd seen in the Middle East that I thought might have been an ancestor to the dulcimer, but really, I don't think so. This predates all kinds of stuff, but how fascinating it is. There's also the setar, S-E-T-A-R, which say in Persian is three, and tar, I think, is string, so it's a three-stringer. But the modern equivalent's four strings. And it's kind of similar, but it's fretted microtonally. This instrument has 14 frets on it, and it is not microtonal. So kind of unique in that sense. So I wanted to just put a demo up, show the instrument off. Obviously I couldn't find hardly anything on YouTube other than just fantastic players, which is wonderful, but no one describing it in English, which of course is fine. It certainly is their instrument, but it is just amazing. It is really an amazing instrument. I could spend hours and hours and hours playing this. I wish I had access to the traditions behind this, and the music, because it's just phenomenal. But the scale length, it's got a 28-inch and 3/8 inch scale, and the strings are just amazing. Let me go ahead and we'll do a video tour of the instrument here so you can see what I'm talking about. So the top is mulberry, and the neck, I believe, is walnut. It's a very well-made instrument, and the pegs are friction pegs, which work beautifully, and the strings are 8/1000ths of an inch steel. We call these the white strings, and there's a copper string here that's also 8/1000ths of an inch. So there's no, they're all the same diameter. This one's copper though. I have it tuned C to C. You can see here. Bottom string is C, even though it's singing B. And then the top course here is G. Yeah, it's really cool. These frets, I'm sure, used to be gut, but it's some kind of an extremely hard wax nylon. They're movable. They have cut a groove in the side of the neck here where they tie the knot so they can secure the knot. There's the maker's mark. I bought this from a gentleman named Vessel Sela. He shipped it to me from Istanbul, Turkey. I got it through Amazon. I'll put a link down below in case you're interested in getting one. I had a little trepidation about buying something, in the Middle East and getting it over here, but came no problems. Intact. Packaging was great. Gentleman was wonderful to deal with. So if you're interested in something like this or a Zaz or whatever, I would recommend him for sure as someone to deal with. But back to the instrument. What's amazing is, so this is white mulberry, I believe, And it's extremely thin. I bet you this top is 3 millimeters. My guess is that it's not braced at all, and they actually take a flaming iron to burn holes in it instead of cutting for a sound hole. Here's the tailpiece is wooden, and the strings just loop over the end. The body is made up of staves, probably folded over a form. I believe they're also mulberry. Now the high-end ones, I think, are carved from a solid trunk. And if you can imagine carving a giant bowl of mulberry down to about 3 millimeters thick, I also think that the ribs are very, very thin as well. So you have just a very light, gourd-shaped body with hardly any string tension on it at all. Whereas our instruments are just kind of the opposite. We've got a rigid body, we use braces, and we use high string tension. Their tension is nothing. When you saw me playing it, I was just using my finger, and that's how they play it. They don't use a pick. They just use their hands. Fascinating, too, in that they have this Razagundo style. It's like a flamenco style, except they're strumming up with it, and I'm still trying to get it down. But it's totally incorporated in their playing, and they can keep that going, and it's almost just like a crescendo, a waterfall of music that comes out of this thing. So it really is a remarkable, unique instrument that is a fantastic part of these people's tradition. It's a sacred instrument to the Kurds, the people of the Ali Haq. It's their instrument of devotion. They play this, and it's part of their ceremonial religious experience, which you can see some of that on YouTube, and it's really profound. So I had mentioned that the scale length is 28 and 3/8. The body is about 15.5 inches in length. The body's width is 6.5 inches this way, and the depth is 6 1/4 this way. So really a lot of volume there. And it seems to sound best with the the single string tuned to C and the double chorus tuned in unison to G. I've also had it DA. Again, that's another reason why I wanted to put this up. There's no tuning, how to tune it, any of that stuff on there. So I thought, well, if anybody's interested in it, they might be interested in looking at this review. The pegs, or friction pegs, and they work wonderfully. And there's a lot of excess string wrapped around the peg, which I found out why, because I was tuning it up and broke a string almost immediately. So all I did was, unwind it, and make a little loop on the end, and I had more string to deal with. So nice little decorative thing here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is a hardwood. I don't know whether it's walnut or maple, and it's stained, but like I said, it's just really a cool thing. I wish I could. Who knows? Maybe I'll be able to find someone to teach me how to play this. But one problem that I find is I don't have the ability to grow out my nails, which would help a little bit, I think. This is that technique that I see them doing, and it's so fluid, and this first finger is just constantly active, so they can have this wonderful crescendo of music flowing out of this thing, and it truly is an amazing instrument. And since the strings are there's barely any tension on it at all, it's it's so expressive. I mean, just you can manipulate the strings without even playing down here. I can't do it very well. But I watched players on YouTube who are masters at it, and they're sitting here playing the whole thing, and they're not even using their hand down here. That's something. But each time, each finger as it goes is you want to be able to hear that articulated 4 times. You know, not just big wash. So I'm working on it, but. So there you have it. A beautiful instrument, Kurdish Tanbur. Happy playing.